But
Yeah.
speaking of things that, okay, nobody actually recommended this particular movie. Disney's
Yes.
The Haunted Mansion.
Yes. I gave this a watch because as somebody who was a regular visitor to Walt Disney World Resort, and I've been on the Haunted Mansion ride more times than I can count. Um, you know, wanted to see what they did with this.
Hmm.
Um, and I actually I talked to my mom about it yesterday because I had lunch with my parents, and she watched it too. And the word she used to describe it was cute.
That's damning with faint praise.
Yes, she because mainly because they had all the references to the ride. She thought that that was kind of cute, but the rest of it was just um, which I would agree with. It's just kind of nah. Um, I would when I was watching it, it dawned on me with all the different characters. I think they were trying to do like a movie like Clue or Murder by Death.
Mm.
Having a bunch of people in a mansion, and then having kind of like a mystery, and although albeit with in this case with a supernatural bent to it, but it just didn't work. Like the humor by and large was pretty flat. Um,
Yeah, they've been showing this. They've been showing me a lot of Disney Plus ads on YouTube before I finally caved and re-upped my premium subscription because I couldn't handle it anymore. And because Google did actually roll out that, oh, using an ad blocker on your PC is in violation of YouTube's terms of service. Turn it
Ugh,
off, or like, okay, fine. I was thinking
yeah.
about it anyway. But the one the ad they were showing for this movie over and over again was them doing a seance with a candle and the medium going, and you're sure that this Yankee vanilla candle is the only candle that was available? I keep forgetting to cancel my Amazon subscription and silence.
Yeah.
It's like that's barely a joke.
Yeah, that's about the extent of the humor. Yeah, and
Oof.
there's also a bit in there that a lot of people kind of got some people got bent out of shape about, but I took it a different way. And
Hmm.
it's where they're see where the basically the main character of the movie, he's up in the attic. And if you've been on the ride, and there's a part where you're in an attic, and it's the bride, and it shows her with the portraits of all her husbands that she um and she's up there, and then he's up there with her, and he's like, oh, I'm sure all those all your husbands were real bad guys. I'm an ally, and and my my I interpreted that as he's saying that because he's trying not to get his head cut off.
Yeah.
Not he wasn't pushing any kind of they weren't pushing any kind of gender or anything. It was just like he's just saying that because he doesn't want to get his head cut off.
Right. He's saying something that he thinks will placate somebody dangerous.
Right. Yeah. And but yeah, so basically the crux of the movie is Rosario Dawson's character and her son move into a mansion north of New Orleans, which turns out to be haunted.
Wait, Ahsoka herself?
Yes, yeah, Ahsoka herself. Yeah, these actors must have signed some contract with Disney that they have to do like a certain amount of
Oof.
projects with them. Because Owen Wilson's in this movie too, and he's in
Oh
Loki.
no.
Yeah. But yeah, so they leave the mansion, but they can't. They leave the mansion, but then they have to go back because this was part of the ride, and I will say I will give them credit. This was clever because it's part of the lore of the ride. Uh, when you're getting about to get off the ride and near the end, the tour guide, quote unquote, tells you beware of hitchhiking ghosts, and then tells you that a ghost will follow you home. And so when you go into the mansion and then you leave, one of the ghosts follows you and then starts haunting you. So that's why they can't leave the mansion, because even if they leave the mansion, they're still going to be haunted by some ghost that's living inside the mansion.
Well, okay then.
Yeah.
I I just don't really have a lot of response to this movie. Like it,
Okay.
like
But
it,
yeah, but yeah, it's, I mean, a lot of it is just centered around the basically the main character of the movie, because he's, they have this whole he has this whole tragic backstory with his wife dying, and and all that. Yeah. I would say even Owen Wilson's wasted in this movie. Like, I don't know how you do that, but they found a way.
wow.
Wow. He doesn't say wow, by the way.
Well, man, he really is wasted in this movie.
I
So,
know, yeah.
so having
Um,
never seen it, did you ever see the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion?
I haven't seen that one, though.
Okay, so you can't make a comparison.
No.
It's The real question is, why did they think this was a good idea after the first one was a famous mega bomb? Did they blame Murphy because he was at the Norbit and Pluto Nash part of his career?
Probably. Yeah, I don't know. I yeah, I can't help you there. It's, I mean, I think the only thing, like I said, if they had leaned more into the whole, making it be more like a Clue type movie, I think it would have worked, or at least been a little bit better. Um, but the thing with that is, with Clue, and also, if you've I don't know, have you ever seen Murder by Death?
Yeah, it's been a while, but
Okay.
yeah, it had the original Obi-Wan in it as like a deaf, but as a deaf
Uh,
butler, and or no, was he
yeah,
no, he was
he was
he was
blind.
blind, and the maid was deaf, and they couldn't
Right.
deal with each other.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The thing with those two movies is that everybody in that house is in that house for a reason. Like, there's a tangential reason why they're all there. This movie, it's just like they're just there.
Also, everybody in those first two movies is larger than life and kind of absurd, so which plays into the fun of it.
Yeah, and the only one and the only two, well, the only people in this movie that would be, you would call larger than life, would be like Owen Wilson. I can't remember her name. The Whoever played the voodoo priestess, and Danny DeVito. But even Danny DeVito was kind of wasted in this movie too.
Man, if you can't at least get Jumanji 2 got a good performance out of Danny DeVito, even though half the time he was played by Aquafina,
Yeah,
doing her best Danny DeVito impression.
yeah. But yeah, this movie was very disappointing. Yeah.